Inflation is the invisible thief that steals while you sleep. You don't see it, you don't hear it. But every year it silently takes a slice of your savings, your salary, and your future. Prices rise, purchasing power falls, and what once felt enough starts feeling like survival. And the worst part? Most people never notice until it's too late. Inflation doesn't just make things expensive, it redefines value. Your money in the bank isn't safe, it's slowly melting. While banks give you 5% interest, real inflation quietly eats 8% from underneath. That's a guaranteed loss, disguised as stability. This video breaks the illusion, showing exactly how inflation destroys wealth and, more importantly, how smart people fight back. Because money isn't about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep after the system takes its cut. Stay till the end. You'll walk away not scared, but empowered, armed with a plan to protect and grow your money in any economy. The truth isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to free you. Inflation doesn't destroy wealth overnight. It does it silently, inch by inch, year after year. The sooner you see it, the sooner you can fight back and rebuild what it's been stealing all along. 1. Understanding what inflation really is. Inflation isn't just rising prices, it's the shrinking value of your money. When the cost of goods climbs 10% but your income stays flat, you're working the same hours for less real value. Governments print money to solve crises, but each new dollar makes every existing dollar weaker. That's why $100 today can't buy what $100 did 5 years ago. Inflation is subtle, but it compounds, just like interest. Left unchecked, it erodes savings, pensions, and fixed incomes. It turns your safe cash into a wasting asset. And in every economy, the middle class pays the price while the rich reposition early. The first defense is awareness, knowing that inflation isn't temporary, it's structural. It's the result of decades of easy money and rising debt. Once you see how it operates, you'll stop saving in cash and start saving in value. Because the rules of money have changed, and silence is no longer safety. Inflation is a system's consequence, not an accident. It's how wealth shifts from those who wait to those who act. Understanding that truth separates the informed from the struggling majority. 2. How inflation destroys your savings. Let's make this real. If inflation averages 7% per year and your bank pays 4%, you're losing 3% of your purchasing power annually, even though your balance looks higher. After 10 years, that same $10,000 buys what $7,000 used to. That's how ordinary savers lose wealth without ever making a bad decision. Your savings account isn't a growth tool, and it's a holding tank that leaks slowly. The more you save, the more inflation takes. It punishes, caution, and rewards risk takers who own assets. That's why wealthy people don't hoard cash. They convert it into things that beat inflation. Inflation punishes passivity. Doing nothing is losing money. You can't outsave inflation, well, you must outsmart it. Every dollar sitting idle is a soldier not fighting for you. Protect your savings by turning them into something stronger than paper money. Every year of inaction compounds the loss. Not in numbers, but in opportunity. What feels safe today could cost you decades of potential wealth tomorrow. 3. Assets that beat inflation. The antidote to inflation is ownership. Not of stuff, but of assets that grow in value faster than prices rise. Historically, equities, real estate, commodities, and dividend-paying stocks have outpaced inflation. ETFs that track the market or sectors tied to tangible goods, energy, metals, agriculture, perform well when money loses value. And certain bonds like TIPS, Treasury inflation-protected securities, adjust their payouts as inflation rises. The wealthy don't fear inflation, they prepare for it. They own productive assets that create income, not just savings accounts that decay. Even small investors can use this playbook by diversifying, balancing risk assets with inflation-protected instruments. Inflation is brutal but predictable, and predictability means opportunity. Your goal isn't to avoid risk, it's to manage it better than the average saver. Every asset you buy is a defense line against currency decay. Don't chase hype, chase consistency and real value. Own things that outlive money's weakness. When inflation hits, cash suffers, but ownership thrives. Every asset you hold is not just a number, it's a shield against time itself. 4. Adjusting your mindset about safety. We've been taught that safety means keeping money in the bank, avoiding volatility, and trusting the system. But real safety isn't about avoiding movement, it's about staying ahead of erosion. Inflation doesn't crash your account overnight, it bleeds it dry quietly. The calm of a low-risk account is an illusion when inflation's fire burns unseen. Change how you define safe. Safe is having assets that hold real-world value. Safe is having multiple income streams that rise with prices. Safe is financial flexibility, the ability to adapt when conditions shift. The bank's version of safety protects them, not you. True security is the ability to generate value faster than inflation can destroy it. Stability without growth is decay in disguise. The goal isn't to feel safe, it's to be resilient. When you stop mistaking comfort for security, you unlock freedom. Because real safety comes not from stillness, but from the power to move when others can't. 5. What you can do today. Start simple. Check your savings versus inflation rate. The numbers tell the truth. Shift part of your savings into assets that produce returns. Even modest ones compound over time. Invest consistently in ETFs, dividend stocks, or mutual funds that mirror inflation-resistant sectors. Learn how to rebalance. Because inflationary periods don't reward static portfolios. Build side income streams that grow independently of your salary. Skill-based income, freelancing, digital assets, small ventures can adapt faster than fixed wages. And keep cash only for liquidity, not for long-term storage. Your money should circulate through opportunities, not stagnate in savings. Don't wait for the right time. Inflation doesn't wait for anyone. Even small actions now are better than perfect timing later. Knowledge compounds faster than interest. Start learning, then investing. The future belongs to those who adapt, not those who delay. Momentum is your greatest weapon. Every small step builds defense against inflation's erosion. You don't need to be perfect, just persistent. 6. How the wealthy use inflation to their advantage. Here's the twist: inflation isn't bad for everyone. Debt holders, asset owners, and investors often benefit when prices rise because their debts lose real value while their assets appreciate. That's why many use low-interest debt to buy real assets, real estate, stocks, or businesses that grow faster than inflation eats. They use inflation as leverage, not as fear. The wealthy don't save money, they save purchasing power. They think in value, not digits. They know every dollar invested in productive systems beats 10 kept idle in a savings account. And that's the mindset gap that separates survival from financial evolution. Inflation punishes the uninformed but rewards the prepared. Once you understand how it works, you can make it work for you. The system doesn't favor anyone, it favors awareness. Be on the side that profits from inflation, not suffers from it. The rich don't escape inflation, they navigate it with strategy. The question isn't whether inflation exists, but whether you know how to ride its wave. Inflation isn't coming, it's already here. You can't control governments printing money, but you can control where your own money sleeps. Stop being the victim of silent theft. Start being the architect of your defense. The moment you decide to act, inflation becomes your teacher, not your enemy. The smartest investors aren't trying to predict the future, they're preparing for it. They build systems that thrive in uncertainty and use inflation as fuel for wealth creation. You can too, but starting today with knowledge, consistency, and courage. If this opened your eyes, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still thinks a savings account builds wealth. Comment below what you'll do differently this month to protect your money. Because awareness without action changes nothing. The truth is simple. Inflation destroys passive money, but rewards active minds. Don't just survive the system. Learn to win within it. Because in a world where value fades daily, knowledge is the only currency that appreciates. Your wealth doesn't start with money, it starts with understanding.